Hi, I wasn't sure that I really wanted to come here today. Um, Corona, we have a mask, gloves, but I felt that I had to come and pay respects. A few days now before Yom Hazikaron, straight after Yom HaShoah, one of the first things that you usually see when you come into Har Herzl, into Mount Herzl, is the andata called the JRoots, the andata the monument that deals with those people who came and fought to build this country. The ones who came out of the Shoah, out of the Holocaust, who came up here and came to build the country. And there were so many of them that unfortunately fell. Over 1% of the people of Israel fell in the War of Independence. How does a people who have been through the Shoah, through the Holocaust, then get up again and rebuild themselves and lose another 1% of their people as they sit here in this country? But the proof is, as we've said so many times before, we are a people that are not put off by a journey that may even be hard, that may push us to unbelievable elements. We get there at the end of the day. When you come into Har Herzl, you're astounded, number one, by its beauty and its silence. So much silence. But as we know from Pirkei Avot, what do we learn so much about? And the Gemara tells us this as well. Do we learn more from words or do we learn more from the silence? Concepts that we learn so much from silence itself. You listen to the silence, you bring it into yourself. You try and understand what it means to be here. And I walked into Har Herzl this morning, the first thing I saw was a group of people standing around their son's grave. Others of them, it was their father and grandfather. I see women lighting candles by their husbands' graves, all of them knowing that they can't be here on that most solemn day of Yom Hazikaron. And you walk into a place like this and you're standing by the memory of these people. What they did to build this country. The incredible sacrifice. But I also want us to remember something else. Just across the road from here is a neighborhood called Bayit V'Gan. And the story is so well known, but could it be told any more importantly on a day like this today? In that neighborhood taught one of the greatest heroes of the land of Israel. I had the privilege of davening with him so often in Har Herzl, a man called Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. The taxi drivers of Jerusalem would fight overtaking him from Har Herzl towards Bayit V'Gan, the neighborhood across the road. Who was going to get the unbelievable privilege, the zchut, to be able to take Rav Shlomo Zalman to teach in the yeshiva? Rav Shlomo Zalman would demand to pass along Shderot Herzl, the road outside, and turn into Bayit V'Gan. Some say to smell the reach of Gan Eden. Others tell us the famous story of when people came to him, his Talmidim, his pupils, and said they wanted to go up north to pray at the Kivrei Sadikim, at the graves of the righteous people who were buried up north, the righteous rabbis. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Neamuka, the Ari Kadosh, all these very famous rabbis that led Israel, the Rambam. And Rav Shlomo Zalman said to them, why do you need to travel up north? Can't you just cross the road? Can't you just come to the greatest tzaddikim? The ones who sacrificed their life for us to be here today? Just cross the road. We're told in our sources a very beautiful statement. Father and son are on a journey. And the journey's long. And as we all know as parents, many times we've had our kids in the car and they've come to us and they've said, are we there yet? Are we there yet? The father puts his son on his shoulder and carries him because obviously the way was too much, hoping that of course, maybe his son will have more patience. But the questions keep coming, are we there yet? And then his father says a statement. When you see the cemetery, when you see the Beit HaKvarot, know that you're coming to the state, to the country, to the place where we need to be. Har Herzl sits in a very important place in Yerushalayim, in the building of Jerusalem. We have, at the bottom of this hill, we have Yad Vashem. Yad Vashem, which is the memorial for the 6 million Jews who perished in the Holocaust. And we remember so many of them afterwards that died. And how can we not remember today? Even more so the people who are dying because of Corona. Only this morning I heard of another one that we took in Auschwitz 75, who unfortunately has just contracted Corona. And I read a story this morning of a man who works in Shari Tzedek, a doctor, who describes being in Shari Tzedek the other day in the Corona department. He was dealing with a man called Harav, and we're going to call him Shin. We don't know his surname. Thankfully, the doctor didn't reveal it. And they'd been there for a week and a half. He'd had some bit of problems with breathing, but nothing terrible. He walks in and sees that he's actually started, unfortunately, to go the wrong way and not to become better. He calls over the intercom to the people who are watching 24/7, making sure that all of our people, our patients, are looked after. He says, I think we need to help this man more. They tell him to try and put in an infusion. He tries to do one thing and the other. He goes off to visit other patients, comes back again, sees that it's got worse. And there he is, desperately trying to save his life. Harav Shin, an Orthodox man of 95 years old. And here the doctor is trying to keep him alive. He says he's crying under his mask, desperately trying to keep him alive. A man who dies without the Shema. A man who dies without Vidui, the confession prayer. Another one of our great heroes of Israel, a Nitzol Shoah, a survivor, who unfortunately perished because of the virus. At the bottom, we have Yad Vashem. And as you climb up the hill, you get towards the mountain, which is the mountain called Har Herzl. On one side, you have the Gedolei HaUmah, the great people of the nation who built this nation. Politically, and also they sacrificed so much. Whether it be Theodor Herzl, who was brought here later, but all of our prime ministers, presidents, speakers of the Knesset, who were buried in that area of Har Herzl. But then you get to this place behind us. The people who built the state, b'damam, with their blood. The families who sacrificed immensely. And if you go on a straight line from where we are, we head towards the Knesset. The place where all the laws come out of that allow us to live in this country. Allow us to carry on. But we can't forget stage 1 or stage 2 before we get to stage 3. When you see the cemetery, know that you will see the country, the state. I, like so many of my friends, served in the Israeli army. I, like so many of my friends, lost people. And I couldn't really let this day go past without coming at least to visit some of them. At the entrance here, there are chayalim today, giving out water to families who are coming in here. On a day that usually Yom Hazikaron would have thousands and thousands of people, unfortunately, as you can see, it is completely empty. I'm going to try and stop at a few of those people today to allow us to get some insight into these people. When people ask me, when you come to Israel, where do you need to go to? There's no doubt about it. I tell them, you have to come here. You want to understand how this pumps this country? Come here. And then you'll understand what it means to be part of this great nation. What have we sacrificed in order to be part of this?